Prepare yourselves for a battle of epic proportions between two titans. Feast upon their voices and revel in their words. This is Dueling Ogres.
Hello, Ogres, and welcome to episode 152. Thank you for joining us, as always, on this Read It Wednesday evening, Earth date May 9th, 2018. I'm your host, Remington Hitchcock, and with me, as always, my co-host, Brandon Full. Say hello, Brandon.
Remington, I have to say, it is great to be back.
How great?
Pretty great.
Like on a scale
I don't have an analogy.
Oh, like on a scale.
On a scale of 1 to 10?
No, on a scale of carp to salmon.
Salmon being the best?
Yes.
Naturally?
Yes.
I would say a strong tilapia.
You know, tilapia is a bottom feeder fish.
I know.
And it's only been
I feel like this
popularized.
podcast is a bottom feeder podcast.
Oh, okay. Fair enough. I was going to say, it was only popularized because it's cheap. And then, you know, to make money off of it, they sold it as it was good. Same thing happened with lobster.
Yeah, I know lobster used to be considered like a trash food for the longest time.
Yeah.
I mean, is tilapia sold as expensive fish, though?
Well,
I
no.
feel like it is.
No, I wouldn't call it expensive. But sometimes you go to some restaurants and they're billing it like, it's tilapia.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, it's just tilapia.
Is tilapia really a fish?
Yes.
What does it look like?
A fish.
Let me go ahead and Google image search tilapia here real quick.
Okay.
Computer, enhance. Google, find me picture of tilapia. Google, find me clothed picture of tilapia. Every time you do these Google image searches, it's always naked.
Yeah, it's really awkward. Of course, you can change that in the settings.
Yeah, no, I don't want to do that, though. Tilapia looks like every other fish I've ever seen. It has no defining characteristics. It's got kind of a cool back mohawk.
Yeah.
And it looks like it's blushing. So yeah, that's your tilapia minute.
It does kind of look like it's blushing. That's funny.
Oh, you looked it up too?
Yeah, and I found the same picture that you did.
Yeah, it's quit looking.
Yeah.
I'm so shy.
Oh, stop it. He's got some red around, or some orange in his eyeball there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Somebody's talking about me. Bubble, bubble.
Bubble, bubble. So we don't have any fish puns to go along with this tilapia bullshit?
No, I don't have any fish puns cocked and ready, unfortunately.
That's unfortunate. I guess we'll just have to scale it all back then.
I guess I'm just boned.
We're really reaching.
You're frozen up again. Okay, you're back.
Okay.
This is going to be one of those episodes.
Yeah, it is. It's going to be one of those. So Brandon keeps freezing. Somehow his internet got shittier because I'm having zero problems on my end.
We have been chatting and talking perfectly fine.
Yep, but as soon as we start the show.
That's how it always works.
Yeah.
I was going to try to come over today. I had a doctor's appointment. It ran late. Then traffic was shitty, so I'm doing it from home. But
Yep.
I'm going to make a point to come over still every time because this is pissing me off.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I don't blame you, man.
Yeah.
It's aggravating. What happened to your actual PC?
It's still there. I still have it.
Yeah.
It's just easier to do it from the laptop.
Yeah.
My computer chair kind of sucks.
Yeah. Well, that's right. Is it still the broken one?
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
I broke.
I guess I can give you that. So what have you been up? Oh, well, what?
Oh, nothing. I was going to talk about my computer and how I was going to move it, but it wasn't an interesting story.
Okay. Well, what have you been up to other than thinking about your computer moving?
I have been up to nothing, Remington. I have no exciting news this week. Nothing interesting going on.
That's kind of sad.
Yeah. I did have one of those moments, like one of those parent moments that was pretty hard.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, my daughter's cat that she's had forever at her mom's house died.
Oh, that's sad.
Yeah, and this is a cat that she's had for years. It's the first time that she's had a pet that she really had to deal with death with.
Yeah.
So that was a little tough. She's still dealing with it, and it was hard for me because the cat wasn't mine. It was at her mom's house, like I mentioned. So it didn't hit me nearly as hard outside of knowing that she had to go through kind of the sadness of losing a pet.
Right.
But it was difficult. It was the first time I've had to really confront death with my daughter like that, you know?
Yeah. I mean, how did she handle it?
She's pretty upset. She's having a lot of confusing emotions about it, like anger and fear and your typical reactions to death.
Yeah.
But because she's so young, she's never really had to deal with it before. She doesn't know how to process those emotions.
Right.
Did you lose a pet at some point? I mean, I'm sure you had to have, right?
Yeah. I've had, my pets, oh my God, my words also died. Yeah, my first pets were rodents, rodentia, hamsters, mice, rats, things of that nature. My first actual pet was a chipmunk that I rescued.
Okay.
It was on the side of the road, and it had skinned its leg, like something took a chunk out of its fur, and its leg was skinned.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I gathered it up, and it was laying on the side of the road. I gathered it up, and I brought it home, and I put methylate on its wound.
Which is what?
Methylate is an old antiseptic. It's not really used anymore. Most people use either isopropyl alcohol or hydrogen peroxide now as an antiseptic. Yeah. So, but yeah, methylate, which is probably okay. So that's how I was always taught to say it. Much like the suckerfish have. I think we've talked about this before, like the pronunciation of words and things.
Yes.
And how I was raised to believe that a suckerfish was called a percussimus, which is not correct. And you know what the suckerfish is. You know, every fish tank has one.
Yeah.
That cleans up things. Is technically called a hippostomus, which is like the genus of the fish.
So percussionist has nothing to do with it. You were just totally misinformed?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Oh, okay.
And so methylate, which is how I was always taught to say it, is actually merthiolate. So, I mean, you can see the slight confusion.
I like to think that you're this experiment where your parents just decided to raise a kid and mispronounce words around him. And then see what happened later in life.
I mean, I think it's very much a product of just, them hearing the words and then hearing them slightly wrong and just rolling with it. Because, how often did you see a suckerfish's name spelled out? How often did you see merthiolate spelled out? I always
just called them suckerfish.
Yeah, I never saw merthiolate spelled out. Even when I was using it, just because I didn't read it, I just knew what it was, so I used it.
Yeah.
And if you've never, you know how bad alcohol burns?
Yeah.
Merthiolate has a similar burn. It's not as bad, but when you're putting it basically on a wild animal, now I'm circling back to my actual pet story. Sorry for the
for the road trip here, the pit stop.
But it has that burn, and if you're putting it on a wild animal, I mean, you'd think that wild animal would attack you, and this little chipmunk did not. So, I mean, it was in pretty bad shape. So I nursed it back to health, and then we set it free. And that's when I got my first real pet, which was Creamy the hamster.
Creamy?
Yep. He was a halfway albino hamster. He had that cream color.
Yeah.
And so I called him Creamy because he looked like cream.
Oh, so you got to name him?
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. And I had several of those. So, I mean, I found out pretty quickly about death. I was probably, I don't know, how old's your daughter now?
10.
10. I was probably around there if I were to hazard a guess. Because we lived at the house that we lived at for most of my life.
Do you remember how you dealt with it?
I cried. That was pretty much it. I mean, I cannot recall if I had dealt with any human death by that point. But I mean, I definitely cried and was upset. I can't remember if X Kitty died before or after that either. But he was a little more removed because he was a family pet. This was, my pet.
Yeah.
So, Spike passed away too, but I think I might have been too young to remember that. Spike was a white cat. Spike and X Kitty were Henry, my stepdad's, when him and Mom got together, if I remember correctly, or at least shortly thereafter. And that was when I was young enough to not really know what pets were.
Yeah.
And so we went on from there. But like I said, those were family pets, and it was kind of separate from, my own personal pet dying. But I do believe that I cried, but I don't think I experienced any other emotions other than just sadness. I mean, my parents have always been pretty good about just, death is just something that happens, and you got to get over it because it's going to happen to everybody one day. So, yeah. I mean, that's always how I've taken it, I just know that things die, so don't be too broke up about it because, if you believe in an afterlife, they have gone on to a better place. At the time there was like puppy and kitty heaven,
Yeah.
So
are they separate heavens?
Yes.
Because otherwise it would just be
chaos.
They'd be killing each other all over again.
Yeah. It would just be a constant war. A battle.
And that's
for
where the
supremacy.
Morning Star came from. That's the birth of Lucifer.
Yep.
Puppy and kitty heaven.
Yep.
Lucifer. So what have you been up to?
I've been just working on the Lurk Squad stuff, and mostly that's kind of been my new thing to having been thrown into. We stepped up our, I guess, hierarchy, as it were.
Okay.
So we've introduced some community leaders, and we've turned down the volume on recruiting new people so they can be vetted before new people are brought in.
The Lurk Squad, for those who are unaware, is Remington's super secret group.
Yeah.
Of Twitch streamers, right?
Yes, that's exactly right. Only now it's not super secret. Thanks a lot.
Well, you talked about it. You name dropped it.
I did. So, no, it's just, it's a group of streamers, and we've all kind of got together, and it was started by one fella, and Mediocre invited me to it. I think we've told this story before. And we started a Discord and just started pulling more people in, and it's to help each other, improve our streams and get affiliated and all of that stuff. So
yeah, I've noticed that your amount of followers on Twitch has really gone up.
Yeah, and that's part of it for sure. And it opened me up to another group called Global Stream Team, which a bunch of also really good people. So and
I've been watching a lot of Twitch streams lately.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool. I have been too, and it's partially because, you're encouraged to watch each other. But at the same time, like, I enjoy the content. Like, sometimes I'll go in and one fella he's relatively new, he doesn't talk in the Discord much, Mahi Mahler _TV. And he has been playing Sea of Thieves.
Oh, yeah.
And it's usually the morning when I'm going to work or at work. So I'll just hang out in his chat room and bullshit with him while there's nothing going on. So,
what do you think of Sea of Thieves from what you've seen?
I really enjoy it. The word around the water cooler is that it gets pretty old pretty quickly for those of you who are starved for content. But I mean, it's a pretty game, and I'd like to play it, and I'd like to play it with multiple people. That's where I think I'd get the most joy out of it.
Exactly.
If I had a crew, I really wouldn't care to be lacking in content, or if the content is repetitive, if I've got people with me, because the adventure will be different every time. Anybody
I've talked to that has played Sea of Thieves, if they have a crew of friends they play with, they really enjoy it. If they try to solo or play with randos, it's just a headache that gets boring very quickly. Yeah. And Mahi must like to beat his head against the wall because he's been playing solo. So he goes and he does all the micromanaging and is just like collecting snakes. And like the last time I watched him, he was just collecting snakes and chickens, golden snakes and golden chickens, because there's a quest that comes up that says, if you get these, we're going to pay really well for them. So. Oh, okay. And yeah, so that's what he does. It's just micromanaging. Yeah, it kind of turns into a collectathon, and that's where the repetitiveness comes from what I've heard. Yeah, for sure. So, I mean, I can definitely see that, but when you go up against another ship, and you have this pirate battle on the sea, and that's pretty exciting, and they're really fairly accurate as far as I could see when it comes to seafaring. Yeah. Not like overly accurate, and of course, I'm not a sailor myself, but
those older sailed ships where you have to raise the sails and lower the sails, and when you drop the anchor, you don't just stop immediately, and you can feel the lurching forward of the ship as it hits the seafloor. If you drop it in a hurry, you know. So
I always enjoyed going up to the crow's nest and just playing the accordion.
Right? I want to play it so bad, but it's $60.
Yeah, and you need. Well, is it a Play Anywhere title? Can you play it on PC?
Yeah, I believe so.
Oh, okay.
But still, I mean, I just can't unless I had a crew already, I can't justify dropping $60 on it.
Yeah, well, the real way to do it right now anyway is with Microsoft Game Pass if you had an Xbox One.
Yeah.
You pay $10 a month and Sea of Thieves is on there and you get to play it for free. It's like their Netflix subscription.
Well, that's cool.
So you pay $30 for 3 months. By the time 3 months is up, you're going to have had your fill of Sea of Thieves, probably.
Yeah, I gotcha. Let's see, what else have I been doing? Other than that, this past day, I played a pre-release of a game called Cultist Simulator, and which
was a card game, right?
Yes, it was an online card game. Not a good stream experience, I would say. I had a bunch of people, join in just to join in the lurk, and I had a few people talking to my chat, and they quickly left because there's no real explanation per se to the game when you start playing it. There's no walkthrough, and you're on a timer for events that are happening. And the problem with that is unless you're fairly astute at looking at the UI, which I was not, I just immediately felt the pressure of the timer. So I thought that I had to do all of my reading and everything within the timer. Well, there's a pause button. And I didn't realize that until my second game out.
Oh, wow. So you were just like, oh, God, no.
Yeah, I was like, oh, my God, I don't know what I'm doing. There's so many things happening, and now there was more cards, and there's more, there's these little blocks, and these blocks you have to put the cards into to accomplish certain goals, like you can explore different places in the town that you're in.
Okay.
And you basically, you start off very basically by having a job. I know I said basically a lot there, sorry. And you have to work that job for a little bit and accrue finances. So for 3 or 4 turns, you really want to just work the job and slave over it and build up some finances. Because as the game goes, you start to learn more and more about the occult, and you start your own cult.
Okay, that sounds pretty cool, though. It sounds like a neat premise anyway.
It is a really neat premise, but man, was it hard to get into. Just because there was really no walking. I mean, there were explanations if you clicked around and found where to click. But I as a gamer am so used to when I start a brand new game being, ham-fisted, this is what this does, that's a pop-up that comes right in your face and says that this is what this does.
Yeah.
And this game does not do that.
So you had people in the chat who were popping in to watch somebody play the game, and then they left when they realized that.
Yeah, they popped in and they were like, okay, so what exactly is going on here? And I was like, I have no fucking idea. And they're like, okay, well, it's interesting. And then they just disappear.
So you were not a great ambassador for Cultist Simulator.
I was not. I was a poor ambassador for sure. So I gave it 2 hours. I played 2 of the 4 hours, and then I went back into Soma.
What do you think of Soma? Are you enjoying it? Still creeping you out?
Yeah, I mean, it's still creeping me out. I have gotten past the part where I was before, where I had the little floaty guy, and you said, you immediately leave him almost the first time that you see him. And then didn't you say that he comes back? I know you were watching a playthrough.
Yeah, he does come back.
Okay, so I haven't got to a point where he comes back yet, but I am moving forward. And I ran into the magnetic field guys, which it just looks like they're wearing a white rubber suit, and then their head is just a bunch of like glowy eyeballs.
Yeah. And
it's those guys are pretty creepy. They make a lot of noises that fuck with my auditory senses, and yeah, it makes for an uncomfortable experience for sure. I'm to the point where I'm going to the next place, but I have to get an old sunken ship to release clamps for the escape pods, basically.
Oh, yeah.
And in order to do this, you have to pull this biometric AI or whatever it is that is screwing with the whole ecosystem is keeping this ship slightly powered. And you have to go in and you have to pull all the power plugs in order to release the thing. I assume that's what I have to do. But as soon as you pull the third one of those little magnetic interference guys shows up, and you have to run from him. And you have to run back to the place where you had left your newfound companion, and you have to remember how you got through the ship. And when shit starts hitting the fan, I freak out, I lose all sense of where in the hell I was, and I have no idea where I'm going. So it's a little frustrating. So that happened pretty close to 4 o'clock in the morning, 3:30 in the morning, and I was like, okay, I'm done, guys, bye. But I went my 4 hours, so.
That always gets me in games. Whenever you do something and then a scary thing happens that you have to run from it. Yeah. Because typically in games, it'll autosave right before that point.
Yeah.
So after the second or third time, the scariness wears off and it just becomes like, oh my God, I'm so fucking sick of dying to this thing.
Yeah, exactly. That's to the point where I got to.
Yeah, where it's just like, okay, I'm done.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so let's move into the stories. We've been bullshitting for a little longer than usual, but it'll come out in post, right?
Yeah, just scrub it all.
Just scrubbing it all. So what did you bring to the table today, Brandon?
Well, I have a bunch of stories here, but I just saw, this is kind of breaking news, that the original Iron Man suit worn by Robert Downey Jr. is gone missing.
What?
Los Angeles police, this is from Syracuse.com.
Okay.
I'm assuming it's the city of Syracuse.
Right.
Los Angeles police announced Wednesday the red and gold Marvel superhero costume valued at $325,000 disappeared from a prop storage warehouse in Pacoima between February and April.
Pacoima?
Yes.
Huh. That's, I mean, I guess probably par for course when it comes to, movie memorabilia.
$325,000 seems like a lot of money, right? For the Iron Man suit?
I don't know, because it's going to be custom. It's going to be custom to RDJ.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they wanted to fit him so well that he can move around in it as much as possible when he's in an actual like full getup.
That's got to be going to some evil European prince somewhere, right?
I can only hope so.
He's hired people to steal the costume just so he can put it on display, or he can try to wear it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Stroking his goatee and wearing the Iron Man costume.
Look at me, I'm Tony Stark. Nondescript accent.
Yeah. We don't want to give an accent for any place in particular.
Yeah.
So it changes from voice to voice.
That's right. There's a little Russian there, and then maybe a little Middle Eastern there, and then maybe a little English there. French. Yeah. You don't know. Austrian. Dutch.
Dutchstrian.
Dutch-Rustrian.
Dutch-Australian.
There you go. I like it. Dutch-Australian.
So.
What?
Just this podcast. Whenever we miss a week, it feels like we just have no idea how to podcast again.
we lose all semblance of podcasting.
Like Dutch Australian, pause, silence. Right?
Yeah, Brandon. Those jokes. It's okay. We can fix it in post.
I say just leave it. Let it, just bear it out raw.
Oh, no.
Let him see what we look like.
No, it's so bad. It's so bad if I leave it raw, because then they hear how many times my brain shuts down.
Yeah. And they hear how many times I say and so.
Yeah, exactly.
So
I actually don't cut you as much as I used to.
You used to cut me all the time.
Yeah, with knives.
I feel like I do say less than I used to.
You do.
And I smack my lips less. I've learned how to talk a little bit better.
Well, that's good.
I talk gooder than I did before.
I mean, I still smack my lips occasionally as well.
Leave that in. Leave this in.
Okay. Oh, it's so bad. Sorry, guys.
That's what I'm doing right in your ears.
No.
Does it sound wet?
Does it sound lit or wet?
Wet or lit. Does it sound lit and wet?
Yes, it does. It sounds both lit and wet.
Speaking of things that are lit and wet, Remington.
Good segue. Go ahead.
The XL Catlin Deep Ocean Survey just discovered over 100 new marine species around Bermuda.
Oh, wow. So what kind of species are we talking about? Like, are we talking about different kinds of plankton or
coral, crustaceans?
Yeah.
At least 13 new crustaceans, including tanids, gnathid isopods, and leptostricans.
Leptostricans?
Yep.
Wow. That's fascinating as fuck.
They discovered it in a new area called the Rarefotic area, or the Rarefotic zone, which extends 400 to 1,000 feet beneath the surface.
Oh.
It stands for rare light.
Interesting.
So they have the ocean broken down into certain layers, so we can find all these creatures between 100 feet and 300 feet. And it's called the X zone because it's just the right temperature for these creatures to live in.
Right.
This is a new zone that they discovered. And within that zone, they discovered over 100 new species.
Wow. That's pretty fascinating.
Yeah, the whole study was organized by British Charity and was led by marine research scientists from Oxford.
See, that's what I love about the freaking ocean, man, is we are still in this day and age finding hundreds of new species. And not just the ocean, but we still find this stuff in the world at large, but the ocean is still particularly interesting.
Yeah.
It's so easy to see why people become oceanographers and other jobs that are associated with the ocean that I can't think of at the moment. Pirates.
Brigands, privateers.
Yar. Yo ho, me hearties.
But yeah, it is crazy that they're still discovering species. I know that we discover new species every day.
Right.
But
hundreds? How often does that happen anymore?
Yeah. There was enough information here that there are 20 different research papers being written about this information.
Wow. That's insane. That's a lot of papers.
Yes, it is.
For that, it is. Why
That's a lot of papers. I can tell sometimes you don't know what to say, Remington. 20 is certainly a large number.
That is a large number of scientific papers. Damn it, Brandon. It's always better if you say scientific in front of it. I don't sound as dumb.
That's a lot of scientific papers.
That is a large number of scientific exploration.
So speaking of scientific exploration, Remington, what do you got for stories?
I think this is more an exploration of our... See, now I don't have anything to say.
That's a lot of words.
Strike that, Brandon. In space news, scientists have found that they know when and how the sun is going to die.
Really?
Yes. Apparently, according to a research published Monday in the Journal of Natural Astronomy, our 4.6, this is from, let me go ahead and read where this is. This is from the Weather Channel, because they also cover solar news.
Fake news.
Oh.
Fake weather news. Fake weather.
Sorry.
That is something to see on video.
Yeah. Our 4.6 billion year old sun will become a red giant in about 5 billion years after it burns up all the hydrogen in its core. If any of you don't know, that's how suns die. They burn up their fuel. They burn up their hydrogen. By that time, it will have extended in size and swallowed up Venus, Mars, and the Earth. The scientists note that the Earth will be gone in about a billion years. That's because every billion years or so, the sun becomes 10% brighter as it ages. The increased brightness will be enough to evaporate our oceans, making life on our planet impossible. So we only have a billion years to get our heads out of our asses.
So do you think the human race is actually going to be around in a billion years?
No, I think we'll kill each other or kill ourselves much sooner than that.
Way before the sun burns out.
Yeah. But I guess there's a slim possibility that, a catastrophic event will reduce the number of human beings, either plague or, a collision with an asteroid or some other massive war or something like that will kill off a large population. And at that point, we could potentially reset.
Yeah.
Which, we're pretty close to, we're probably way overdue for it. But, it's a weird thing to talk about but Thanos has a point. That's all I'm going to say.
Oh, about culling half the population?
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't condone it, and I don't want to be the one to do it. I'm just saying I see where it's coming from.
Yeah. That's like an Illuminati point of view. That's what the Illuminati wants to do, is cull half the world's population.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Well, call me.
You want to become part of the Illuminati?
Sure, why not? That'd be a secret organization. I mean, they always take care of their members, right? It seems like.
Yeah, that's true. You'd be covered.
Yeah, there we go. I could stream for free. That would be my new job. Funded by the Illuminati.
You have the power of the Illuminati, and you're going to use it so you could stream for free?
Yes. So I could just stream whatever I wanted.
The overlords are going to be behind you with their arms crossed, just shaking their heads disappointed, like, we've made a bad mistake, Balthazar.
So why are they talking to my cat?
Yes, Hermeatus.
There you go. The thing that I like most about that is that you're talking as if I wouldn't be doing anything else but streaming. Like, yeah. Like they didn't gather me onto their side for, my other views on culling half of the planet.
No, you just solely found out that they'll pay for your streaming, and that's where you went with it. And
that's how I got in. That was my in.
I still
Come on, Remington, get to work. You've got people to contemplate killing.
Sorry, I'm just really freaked out on the Soma part right now, guys.
Yeah, guys, you're just going to have to give me like 20 minutes. Just 20 more minutes, man.
You've got like Diet Sunkiss spilled down your robes.
These are silk.
It's fine. Don't worry about it.
It'll be all right.
I should have seen I was going to spill this shit.
It's diet. It doesn't get sticky. It'll wash out.
Really kind of a pain in the ass for us, but we did accept you as a member, I guess.
So after becoming a red giant, the sun will spend its dying days. That doesn't make sense. That whole sentence doesn't make sense.
Throw it out.
After becoming a red giant, the sun will its dying days turn into a planetary nebula.
That does make sense. It's a weird way to say it.
Yeah. It's almost like they left an in out.
Yeah.
After becoming a red giant, the sun will, in its dying days, turn into a planetary nebula, a massive ring of luminous interstellar gas and dust left behind. So, it's estimated that about 90% of the stars in the universe this happens to. It'll start off, it'll grow into a yellow sun like ours, and then a yellow star. And then it'll go red giant, and then it'll supernova and become a planetary nebula. They think that about 90% of the stars will do just that.
So how do they know the time frame of when it's going to happen? Because this seems like stuff that they already knew.
Well, I don't think that they had a full measurement of... I mean, I'm sure they had ideas on just the length of time that a star will last. But I would imagine that they had been taking measurements of like the amount of helium or the amount of hydrogen that our sun has left by whatever it is that they use the color, use the rainbow colors to see the concentration of an element in a star or in a planet. I want to say spectrography, but I don't know if that's correct.
It sounds right.
But anyway, somebody out there can correct me. That's fine. In fact, please do, because I want to know and I don't want to look it up right now. But anyway, seeing that concentration and then comparing it with other stars in various stages of their lives, you could probably extrapolate a pretty accurate representation of the life of where our star is in its particular lifetime.
Okay. Yeah, and I saw the story you're talking about. I didn't read it, but I saw it posted in my timeline of like all the different stories that I get as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was worded like scientists have figured out when and how it's going to happen.
Yeah.
And I'm just wondering how they discovered it.
Yeah, and
if
honestly,
it's just as easy as that, why it's something they haven't figured out earlier.
Yeah. When a star dies, this is from Professor Albert Gilstra, an author of the paper from the University of Manchester. When a star dies, it ejects a mass of gas and dust known as its envelope into space. The envelope can be as much as half the star's mass. This reveals the star's core, which by this point in the star's life is running out of fuel, eventually turning off before finally dying. It is only then that the hot core makes the ejected envelope shine brightly for 10,000 years, a brief period in astronomy. This is what makes the Planetary Nebula visible. So, yeah, it's kind of a misnomer or a misworded article title, because they don't really go into the hows and whys of it. Toward the end, it does say previously researchers believed the sun's mass was not great enough to produce a visible nebula as it died out. So they thought that it was just going to blow up into a red giant and then slowly burn itself off.
Okay.
So I think that's where it comes in. It looks like previous calculations were saying that it was just going to peter out, but it looks like our sun in its later life has the potential to become a nebula.
Well, that's interesting. That's always good to know which bullet's going to kill you.
Right. Right up until one of those neutron stars or whatever they are, magnetars.
Through.
Magnetars shoots out its frickin' laser beams of X-rays into our brains and fries us all.
I think the mole people are what's going to do it.
Yeah, man, I agree.
Or the lizard folk who live in the crust of the earth.
Yeah, fucking lizard folks.
Illuminati.
Illumilizardati.
Not to derail, I just gotta say, lizard folk are pretty awesome.
They are awesome and totally real.
Let me ask you something real quick.
Okay.
I know we have stories to get to, but whatever. I have lizard folk in a campaign that I'm doing, and the campaign I'm working on, and the lizard folk are kind of tribal and live in the swamps, right?
Right.
I was looking up different histories of lizard folk online to try to get a kind of a general different idea of them. And I found them on TV tropes, lizard folk on TV tropes, talking about how lizard folk almost always are tribal and live in loose tribes based off of strength.
Right.
So my question is, what is a different way that you can think of to present lizard folk that isn't just the same thing? Because I was pretty deflated when I read that my idea for lizard folk is pretty much what lizard folk have been since time immemorial.
Well, I think that that's just really a product of most creatures, like most, lizard folk or really any kind of bipedal creature, and even sometimes not. Cheetahs run in packs, right?
Yeah.
But inside joke. I think that that's something that is just commonplace and natural to us. We, as human beings, by and large, need companions in some number around us, unless you're a hermit. But, there's always outliers.
Yeah, but I mean, you create dwarves, and you're writing dwarves in a campaign, and dwarves, live in a full-on society and have thanes and kings and all that stuff. But then it comes to lizard folk, and they're living in tribes.
Yeah.
And they're using spears and sitting around fires and stuff.
Do you think it's just because they're by and large green? And when we think green, we think nature. And when we think nature, we think tribes?
I think it's because they're lizards.
Yeah, but there are tons of lizard species that don't live in tribes.
I'm talking like straight up D&D fantasy lizard folk.
Well, no, I understand. But I mean, you have to look outside to nature to see what different social structures that lizards will have. There are like geckos, and geckos will live in some sort of a pod where you can find multiple in the same area. I don't know what you would call it, but even still, there are a lot of them that live on their own.
What about like an Egyptian style lizard society?
That would be cool.
I think I'm going to rework the campaign I'm working on to have the lizards be more Egyptian based.
There are lizard-based Egyptian tropes. Usually they are like either alligators or crocodiles, which I can't remember exactly what the breed of. I think it's a crocodile.
Yeah, it's crocodiles.
But there's a certain crocodile species that is usually used in that setting. And I can't remember what they're called for the life of me. But so there's kind of some similarities there, but I think you could get away with it.
Yeah, like a full-on society of lizards who mummify, because then I can have mummy lizards.
Yeah.
And my love of mummies.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. Okay, sorry for the aside. I just randomly, something sparked the talk of lizards. So.
It's cool. I mean, it's whatever. We're coming back after a week off. These shows are always a little looser than normal.
None of my stories segue into this at all.
So speaking of things in different settings, Brandon.
Yes.
Fortnite, the battle royale game that has been sweeping the gaming community, including Twitch and YouTube and all of that.
To the point of ridiculousness.
Yes.
With how fucking saturated everything is with Fortnite.
Yes, and that's the truth. I can tell you that probably more than half a dozen of the people in my chats have played or are playing Fortnite.
Did you stream Fortnite?
Did I stream it? Probably not, because I'm not very good at it, but I was in a stream with somebody else who was streaming it.
Okay, that might have been what I saw then.
I joined their group and went and brought their KD spread down because I'm so bad at it.
Yeah.
But recently they released a patch that it's a new game mode where they bring Thanos, the Mad Titan, into the game. And from what I understand, and I'm not sure about this, did you look up the stats on Thanos?
I tried to, but let me tell you, dude, there are fucking 1,000 articles about Thanos and just talking about how great it is. So apparently it's very well balanced, but I can't find exactly what he does.
Well, I don't know about well balanced, but fun is what it sounds like. Okay, so these battle royale games, just as a quick explanation of how they work, you can do it in squads, you can do it in solo modes, or you can do two people. This particular mode is 1v1. It's all against everybody. And you have this fairly expansive map. I don't know if the Infinity Gauntlet is in the same spot every time, or if you have to find it. But they basically place an Infinity Gauntlet on the map, and if you find it, you put it on, you equip it, and you become Thanos.
Okay.
And your health increases from 100 to 400. Your shields go way up. You have the ability to shoot like laser beams out of your hand. You can jump incredibly high. So you're incredibly hard to kill. And you will stay Thanos until you get killed. So theoretically, you can win the game multiple times as Thanos if you're good enough to do so.
From what I read, once somebody becomes Thanos, everybody on the map can see Thanos' health.
Yeah.
And armor.
Okay.
So you have a general idea of where Thanos is at life-wise all the time.
Okay. Well, that does help to balance that out a little bit.
Yeah.
Because at that point,
he becomes basically a boss for the other 100 people or the other 99 people playing.
Yeah, exactly. So what I find, not only is that pretty cool on its own, but apparently there has been memes being created because in Fortnite you have dances and you have emotes, and these emotes are applied to the Thanos character as well. So they have been taking the Thanos character and placing it, yes, Brandon just dabbed, thank you, and placing it inside of different Marvel movies, explaining that the what is the gem that controls space and time?
The reality gem?
Yeah, the reality gem. That he's basically using it to pop around different.
No, it's not the reality stone. I don't know. It's one of them. The space stone.
Yeah, well, they said the reality stone in this clip. You can go to Reddit and you can find some of these. There's one with there's an emote that is eating popcorn, and it's this huge bucket of popcorn, and the character just throws popcorn at their face. So here is Thanos with a huge thing of popcorn throwing popcorn at his face, and he is standing in the scene where New York is attacked during Loki's invasion in the first Avengers movie.
Okay.
An attack that Thanos himself ordered, right?
Yeah.
And he is standing with them as the camera pans around, throwing popcorn into his face. There's another scene where he's standing behind Star-Lord when Star-Lord is doing his dance-off, and he breaks out into dance as well. And then there are a few other compilation videos where it's just Thanos dancing in various scenes and that sort of thing.
Where did you find these?
This is actually on Polygon.com.
Okay, because I am very interested in seeing these.
Okay.
Those were hilarious.
So sorry, everybody, if you hear mowing in the background. I don't know how well it's going to pick up or if I can take it all out, but my neighbor just started mowing, so there's that.
Do you want me to drive over and beat your neighbor to death?
No. I mean, she's a pretty okay lady, so...
Oh, this is your lady neighbor?
Yes.
Yeah, she is pretty nice.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Do you want to give some initial thoughts on Infinity War? You and I both saw Infinity War, and I know next week we're planning on going into it spoiler heavy.
Yeah.
So
yes.
Listen to that next week, but we both saw it. Do you want to give some initial impressions on it?
I really enjoyed the flick. I really did. Movies are kind of a hard thing for me, I feel like, because I don't remember movies really well, and I am not usually super interested in them.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know a different way to place or to say that.
Yeah.
Like, I don't really mind if I have to get up and go pee.
You don't really care if you miss a little bit of the movie.
Right. I had to pee 3 times during Infinity War.
3 times?
Yes, I really did not want to go pee each time. Like, it just kept going well enough that I really felt like if I left, I was going to miss something. Now, I'm not 100% sure if I did, but I feel like I did okay. I feel like
they did a really good job with pacing the movie.
Yeah, the pacing was really incredible. I enjoyed, the parts that and that's the other thing. You could read the movie really well too. Like you could feel when, okay, things are going to be cool enough that if I do need to pee, then I can go ahead and go pee.
Yeah.
So I think it was really well put together. Honestly, I can't wait for the second one either. I mean, I kind of have an idea of how the story would go. I read up on how things got fixed in the comics. So I have an idea of that, but it'll be interesting to see where the actual movie goes if it follows the comics as closely or not.
Yeah, the movie diverged enough from the comics that they could really go anywhere with the next movie.
Yeah. In the comics, Nebula fixes things.
Yes.
So without getting too spoilery, because next week we'll get spoilery, in the comics, Nebula fixes things. I think that's enough that if you haven't seen the movie, you have no idea what's going on.
Yeah. And
that fact could change, theoretically.
I think it probably will. I would be surprised. Although, I don't know. I guess this is something we'll bring up next week when we discuss spoilers.
Yeah.
Next week will probably be a pretty heavy Infinity War episode.
Yeah, the entire episode will probably be mostly Infinity Wars.
Okay.
So, because we'll have Bucky on.
Ugh, really?
Yes.
I kid.
It wouldn't be okay. It wouldn't be Dueling Ogres or fucking Kapow for that matter if we didn't give Bucky a hard time.
Does Kapow give him a hard time too?
I think so. Maybe not.
But he's interacting with Kapow also?
I don't know. I really don't.
He'd better not. We can't have our fans split up like that.
That's right. You can't be listening to lifelong enemies.
We probably shouldn't give him an ultimatum because I think that deep down Kapow is just a better podcast.
See, now you're just being self-deprecating.
Now I'm just trying to grease some wheels.
For what?
Jordan has his Comic-Con coming up soon, so. He's got River City Comic-Cons coming up.
Jordan, you know that you like our podcast better than your podcast, right?
He's just like, man, I wish Kapow was more like Dueling Ogres. I wish I could say fuck once in a while. That's the only thing I think when I listen to them. Not the only thing I think, but I wonder when I listen to them if they really want to throw in an errant F word sometimes.
Right.
But they also know way more about comics than we do.
Oh, yeah, for sure. So
anyway, enough of that.
Yeah, speaking of not knowing anything about comic news, I figured I'd do a news segment called the Shotgun Approach.
All right.
Where
news segment using the same space news thing too.
No, that wasn't the same. That was different.
Oh, was it?
Yeah. Okay, this is This is the shotgun approach. This is space news.
Oh, you're right. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Do you want to do the lead-in shotgun approach again?
Nah, it's fine.
Okay. I didn't mean to shit on it. I love it.
So these both of these stories come from comicbook.com, talking about things that we don't really know much about because we don't really read comics anymore. But I thought that these stories were really interesting, and these are also a little spoilery. So 2 comics that I'm going to talk about. Number 1 is Justice League No Justice #1, and the other one is the fucking website. Seriously,
I love that story.
They're so garbage.
So this is a double-barreled shotgun approach then. 2 stories?
Yes, 2 stories for the price of 1. Batman White Knight #8.
So what makes this the shotgun approach?
So what makes this a shotgun approach is I don't know if we can get any content out of these. So I'm just throwing them out there, and if we talk about them, we do, and if we don't, we fucking move on.
Awesome.
So it's just splattering it against the wall and seeing what happens. DC kills off one of its biggest villains. Again,
the Joker?
This is spoilers for Justice League No Justice #1. So if you don't want to hear anything about it, you're going to read it. Mute us for the next 2 minutes.
Mr. Freeze?
No, Brainiac.
Really?
Yes. So apparently the idea of the story is there is a new big bad. A hole has been ripped in the source wall, making the universe vulnerable. Brainiac comes and he grabs a bunch of the heroes and takes them away. But it turns out that Brainiac is actually a good guy. He lives in this universe as well. And what we find out is that Brainiac is trying to get these heroes together to save the universe from this source wall being broken. So he's the only one who has figured out how to deal with it. The problem is Suicide Squad leader Amanda Waller brings in a bunch of psychic-based heroes and plugs them all into one big machine, overloads Brainiac's brain, and causes his head to explode.
Oh, okay. So his head explodes?
His head literally explodes before he is able to reveal how to deal with this threat to the heroes that he abducted. Because she was under the impression that he took them for nefarious ends.
So is this regular Brainiac or is this like alternate dimension Brainiac?
That I have no idea.
Okay.
I have no clue. Like I said, shotgun approach. I read the bare basics of it. I just thought it was a really interesting look at a really interesting synopsis of comics since I don't read them. I was like, oh shit, Brainiac dead. Interesting.
All right. What's the other barrel of your shotgun here?
All right. So the other barrel is, again, Batman White Knight #8. So if you haven't read it, you've been warned. Turn us off for a minute. The Joker had turned himself in. He had been struggling to maintain control over himself. And Jack Napier has been back, and he had been in this timeline. I guess they called him Neo Joker.
All righty.
I'm just going to read this one verbatim a little bit. Batman White Knight introduces fans to the man behind the lunacy, Jack Napier, who has struggled to maintain control of the Joker through medication. After finally defeating the Neo Joker and surrendering himself to Batman and the police, the Gotham City Police Department built him a new cell at Arkham. And the big crux of this particular episode is he and Harleen Quinzel get married. Jack Napier and Harley Quinn get married.
So Harley Quinn is reformed as well?
It looks to be that way. She's dressed normally. She's not dressed like Harley Quinn. And I don't know, like I said, I don't know anything about this series, so she might have been Harley Quinzel throughout the entire thing. So here we have Commissioner Gordon, a priest, and Batman all standing in front of the Joker, who's in his orange jumpsuit, and Harleen, who is standing next to him in like a red button-up jacket of some kind. They're getting married. Do you take this woman? Do you take this man? Sickness and health. She says, I do. Jack, do you? His face starts turning pale. His eyes turn 2 different colors. He coughs up some blood, and then he comes back looking like the Joker, as if a transformation happened right in the middle of all of this. And in true fashion, he yells out, I do! And laughs hysterically. which I can't do the laugh, so there's that. But it echoes throughout Arkham. You see a big panel where he grabs Harleen's head, and he's now the Joker, and he's laughing hysterically, and it echoes throughout Arkham.
So apparently it did not take.
Yeah. So I guess later on in the series, he actually regains some semblance of control, but I think it's interesting to see. I don't know how often this take has happened to the Joker, where, he has regained some sanity and has reverted back to his former natural self. But it's an interesting take on the Joker that I personally have never seen before.
I really need to get back into reading some comics.
Yeah.
Like, this sounds pretty good to me.
Yeah, I agree.
The Brainiac thing, kind of whatever, but the whole Joker fighting against himself, I like that.
Yeah, I think that's pretty cool as well.
I searched Joker marries Harley Quinn on Google, and I found a lot of very weird Tumblr pictures.
Oh, boy. So continuing on the shotgun approach, let me know what you think of this. There are rumors going around that Solo is going to introduce Boba Fett into the universe.
Really?
And the only reason that rumor is going around, apparently, is because Pop Vinyls is supposed to potentially be releasing, Funko Pop is supposed to be releasing a Solo 2-pack with Chewbacca and Boba Fett. Now, there are no pictures of this at this moment. There is no confirmed reports, but as we all know, in the toy world, if a toy comes up, that character's probably going to be in the movie, right?
Yeah, there'd be no reason for them to make a Boba Fett figure for the Solo movie if Boba Fett is not in it.
You would think that. So now, I don't necessarily agree with that assessment, because I think that Boba Fett and Han Solo are fairly synonymous with each other anyway. Like, if you think Han Solo, you also think of Boba Fett.
Yeah.
And I think that that's fair to say that they may release a Boba Fett just because of that connection.
Yeah, I could see that being a possibility. They've made Boba Fett pop vinyls before.
Yeah. So do you think it could go either way with the Boba Fett thing, or?
I would be surprised if they didn't have at least a nod to Boba Fett in there.
Yeah.
I don't think that they're going to have Boba Fett be front and center in the movie. Otherwise, you would have seen him by now.
Right.
But I think there's going to be a nod to him. At least somebody's a Mandalorian, or you're going to see somebody eyeing him, or he's going to wrong somebody that turns out to be Boba Fett.
Right.
Because Alden Ehrenreich has been signed up for 3 movies in the Star Wars universe.
Yeah.
He's already signed on. So I don't think that they would blow their Boba Fett load so early.
Okay. Good call.
Bloba Fett.
Oh, geez. So do you have any more stories?
Yeah, I have quite a few stories.
Okay.
But I know we've been going long, so I will hit on my favorite story.
Okay, hit on your favorite. And then I'll wrap up with some Wonder Woman news.
Okay. This is probably the best news. There's not really a whole lot to this story.
Okay.
But it is fantastic news. Bill and Ted 3, Bill and Ted Face the Music, is now in pre-production.
Nice.
So they're shopping around right now for somebody. They're shopping, I guess, at the Cannes Film Festival.
Okay.
But it is happening now. And I famously love the Bill and Ted movies.
Yes, you do. So how excited are you on a scale of 1 to 10 for this?
A tilapia.
Wait, a tilapia would be like a 6 or 7, right?
No, I would say I'm a salmon. I'm very, very excited for it.
Yeah. Has there been any kind of, do we know the storyline or anything?
Yeah, so the whole idea of Bill and Ted, the whole point of it is that they are going to write a song that's going to change the world and create world peace.
Okay.
So in the second movie, the villain Denopolis that comes back to kill them is trying to kill them before they write the perfect song to bring about world peace.
Ah, okay.
So the movie ends with them on stage playing a Kiss song, and then you see swirling newspapers saying Bill and Ted on tour, Bill and Ted travel around with death, blah, 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 stuff like that.
Uh-huh.
Bill and Ted Face the Music is them now in their 50s, and they still haven't written the song that's going to bring about world peace. So they're trying to figure out, like, well, what are we going to do? We've written so many songs, but none of them have been the one that has brought world peace. Do we just give up at this point?
Okay.
So it's about them dealing with being middle-aged and trying to figure out if they can even do what they were destined to do in the first place.
I mean, they'd have to, wouldn't they? They would have to figure it out, because otherwise we'd have an offshoot of history.
Yeah, the movies play pretty fast and loose with time travel, though.
Yeah, that's true. They very much do.
From what was written about it, it says that reality is starting to kind of crumble around them.
Okay.
So maybe they only have a certain amount of time to write the best song in the world.
Right.
And then because the time is running out, the world is starting to crumble.
I gotcha. Okay.
So I'm looking forward to it. And since I'm on movie news anyway, speaking of the best song in the world, Jack Black has told the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, an Atlantean magazine or newspaper, that Pick of Destiny 2 is being made and it's coming out this October.
Okay.
He said, I don't know where you'll be able to see it, but we have decided that it's happening and it's coming out.
Well, there you go.
So another movie I'm pretty excited for.
I was going to say, what did you think of the original Pick of Destiny?
I loved Pick of Destiny. I still listen to some of the songs from Pick of Destiny when I'm listening to music.
Yeah, I absolutely still listen to Tenacious D. In some Twitch channels, they actually have music players, and you can type into the chat somebody's, like a song title, and occasionally I'll drop some Tenacious D into people's chats. Yeah, and it'll play over their stream. Yeah,
play through?
Yep, it'll play over their stream.
I didn't think you could play music on Twitch streams.
Technically, you can't. You're not supposed to play copywritten stuff, but if they're not recording the videos, then there's not really any way you can do anything about it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay, so let me move on to the Wonder Woman news, and then we'll wrap up. We also got a call today.
Oh, we did?
Yeah, Dave Musgrave called in.
Oh, wow.
So, going on to some Wonder Woman news, just kind of edging off of the comic book and the movie news. The salary for Patty Jenkins, who is directing the film Wonder Woman 2, she directed the first one as well. It came to light, and she is apparently getting $9 million, more than triple the amount of what she made to direct Wonder Woman.
Holy crap.
Yes.
Well, good for her. Wonder Woman did well, and Wonder Woman was a fantastic movie.
Yeah. I haven't seen it yet, but I really want to. Like, between the buzz that I'd heard and then just the scenes that I had seen, I really do want to watch it.
Yeah.
This originally comes from Variety, that she had reportedly made $1 million on the first movie. Now, that seems to pale in comparison to the $9 million, but keep in mind that that had made her the highest paid female director in history.
Damn.
Yeah. This follows a lengthy negotiating process with Warner Brothers, but the first Wonder Woman, she had made, the movie, had made more than $103 million in its first weekend, and has since banked $402 million domestically and $800 million worldwide.
Holy crap.
According to The Hollywood Reporter. So, definitely earned its keep for sure. And totally fair that she gets, triple the amount that she is made off of the first one.
Yeah, really. She's clearly doing something right.
Yeah, absolutely. So just as a bit of comparison, though, in the weird world of Hollywood, Steven Spielberg will make $250 million for a Jurassic Park in 1993. That's what he made for directing that.
$250 million?
Yes.
Holy shit! I mean, that is Steven Spielberg.
It is. You're right, and he has left a large print on the movie world. Daniel Craig makes up to $25 million per film, according to Variety. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson makes up to $22 million per movie. Now, you can argue the difference between actors and directors. You can argue the difference between semi-unknown directors versus, people like Steven Spielberg. But still, I think that between the success of Wonder Woman 1 and that massive pay increase, I think that that's great and well-deserved.
Yeah. Now,
to continue off of that, I thought that this story was really neat. following on the tracks of that story, Six Flags Fiesta Texas recently opened their Wonder Woman Golden Lasso coaster.
Ooh.
And it is the world's first one-of-a-kind single rail coaster on a visually impressive I-beam no wider than 15.5 inches.
Damn.
It looks like, if you see a picture or if you watch a video of it, it looks like a lasso. It's painted this bright yellow, and it's just winding all over the place. It's insane. It has a breathtaking straight down 90-degree drop, which is a first for Fiesta Texas. 2 airtime hills, one 180-degree stall, a 0G roll, and several overbanked turns.
Yeah, I'm looking at a picture now. It does look like a lasso.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. 3 vehicles with 8 single-file passenger seats, so you sit in 3 cars, one behind the other. And a visual storyline of Princess Diana and Themyscira displays through the queue while you're waiting, featuring tropical landscaping and ancient architecture found in Themyscira. So yeah, if you're anywhere near Six Flags Texas, I watched a video of the coaster rolling around, and it just looks fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Do you like coasters? Do you like roller coasters at all?
Not so much. I've ridden quite a few, but I've kind of got over them, I think. Like, if I were to go to an amusement park now, I would skip any, like, loop roller coasters.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm not a coaster freak, but I did find that I enjoyed them once I tried them out.
Yeah.
And I would definitely like to try this one. This one looks fucking cool.
Yeah, it looks intense, that's for sure.
Yeah. So that wraps me up. And you don't have anything else, correct?
Correct.
Well, anything that we have time for.
Yeah, I have a couple news stories I can hit on next time if we talk.
Gotcha. All right. If you all have any questions or comments or you'd like to hear yourself on air, you can call us at 978-DU-OGRES. That's 978-386-4737. Brandon, we have a call.
Holy shit.
I know. So this is
We never get calls.
No, we don't. The last person that called in was Bucky. And the time before that, Stephen Hines called in a couple times, I believe.
Yeah, and then we had that actor from Preacher call.
Yeah, that happens. So, so this one is Dave Musgrave, who we went to high school with, and he had apparently not necessarily been listening to our podcast, didn't know that we had one, and then started listening. So he's been getting a hold of us recently, kind of chit-chatting us up and seeing what we'd been up to. So
yeah,
I am going to play that for us right now.
What's up, fellas? Just found out you had a voicemail to leave voice messages for, so of course I'm going to do that. But I just want to say I've been listening to you. Almost I've been watching you. That'd be weird. Binge listening to you guys. Which is a credit to you because my ear time is valuable, and I have other podcasts to listen to, lots of them. Let's say I won't advertise another podcast on your podcast voicemail, but let's just say I like to listen to nerdy people from West Virginia who talk about nerdy stuff. This one's for Brandon. I almost wrote you a reply to our messages about children being in my intestines, and that's because of the Napoli's Cup conversation we have. I think you need to feature that Napoli's Cup anytime you record from now on, by the way. I guess I should have had a question prepared, and I don't, but I will ask this. Remington, what happened to your long locks of beautiful hair? Okay, that's all for now. Bye, guys.
That was an awesome call. Thanks, Dave.
Oh, geez. So what happened to my beautiful locks of hair? I got old and I started to bald.
So you got rid of the long hair?
So I got rid of the long hair. Mostly getting older, you know. Long-haired hippies. I wasn't going to rock a man bun, and people won't hire you when you're rocking a samurai top knot, so...
I feel like you could do a man bun now that you're a manager.
No, nobody should ever do a man bun ever.
It could be a mange bun.
It could be a non-existent thing.
Because you're a manager, so a mange bun, you get it?
I get it. I just refuse to get it.
You refuse to acknowledge the hilarity of it?
Yes. I don't care how funny it is, I'm not doing it.
Well, if we remember, Dave, we're going to start doing these live streams. We mentioned we're going to do these live streams once every few episodes. I'm not sure when exactly. We haven't really ironed out the details.
Right.
I will do my best to feature that Napoli's Cup in every live stream we do.
I feel
Napoli's is a local pizza place that is not fantastic. But people remember it fondly from the area.
I mean, they if you eat the pizza fresh, it's fucking delicious, and Happy Nappies are the best sandwich ever.
Yeah, they do have good calzones too.
Oh yeah, I don't remember the last time I had one of their calzones. It takes a lot to impress me with a calzone.
Really, that's something new I've never known about you.
It's one of those things where it's good, but almost always it's good. Like it really almost doesn't matter where it's from for me. I could eat them from anywhere and be like, yeah, that's a good calzone because they're all fucking good calzones.
Yeah.
So that's how I feel about calzones, everybody.
It's your calzone minute to go along with the tilapia minute.
Exactly. So thanks a lot, Dave, for the call. We really appreciate it. Again, if you guys want to hear yourself on air, you can call us at 978 DU-OGRES. Or you can reach us on Twitter at Dueling Ogres, email us at duelingogres@gmail.com, or leave a comment on the Facebook page like these nice people. Brandon, go!
Viscount Terry W. Irvin II commented originally, and he said, cool episode title. I think you missed out on the sarcasm that whenever you posted the episode, it doesn't show a title. It just says page not found.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So that's what he was commenting on there.
That makes sense. I don't know why it did. Well, I do know why I did that, but I'm not going to get into the explanation.
He also said, good to know Brandon's employer is Jaspa. So thank you, Terry, for that. Yeah. They have been talking about bringing back the woolly mammoth for quite a while, and if it happens, will take quite a while. Personally, I'd like to see the thylacine, the Tasmanian tiger, brought back, figuring they are extinct. I have to say the Tasmanian tigers look awesome.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
There's still pictures of them, and there's still rumors that they exist in the wild, although I'm sure those are just rumors at this point.
Yeah, I'm sure.
He said he saw Infinity War. While decent, he was not overall impressed, although I did message Rim with a few thoughts since he was able to see it. We'll save my comments for when you gents discuss it on the podcast. Yep. Thanks for the plug for Betrayal. I think that Brandon might like Jerome even more than Blizz. We'll see. Quote for the episode, and I like Lady Gaga as a performer and as a human being, I guess. The Diamond Man Stephen Hines commented and said, I give this episode 10 out of 10 butthole copy pastas. By the way, I'd never heard the term before this episode. Do you know its origin story? Remington, you replied with the origin story.
I did indeed.
Congrats on the Twitch affiliation, Rim. Also, hashtag rest in peace Porndar. Hashtag a star is Porndar.
So, for everybody listening, well, go ahead and finish yours. Sorry.
I'm so glad that Hollywood is remaking a Barbra Streisand classic with Lady Gaga. My life is now complete. I done got my bachelor's degree from Ashland University. Going pro with your joystick sounds like an activity that every nerd does during his adolescence. Tell me about it. I would have a master's.
You would be a master baiter.
Oh, I get it. And then the final comment is from the long forgotten Wizard of the Wardrobe, Keisha.
long missing, but not forgotten.
Yes, who just commented and said, hey, I listened to this. No comments either way on anything, if it was good or funny.
Just that
hey,
was.
I listened to this.
That was an episode, all right. Ding.
That was certainly something my ears heard.
And that's why
thank you, everybody.
And that's why we have a shirt that says "Grease it up and slide it in your nerd holes," because sometimes it goes down a little rough.
God, you just make it worse and worse every time you talk about it.
Go buy that shirt right now. DuelingOgres.com/bizarre. Also, good news for anybody who was concerned. Porndar lives again in Bucky's playthrough of Skyrim. Is it?
Yes.
Okay, so Porndar is reborn.
Yeah, his bloodline has been passed down 400 years from Morrowind to Skyrim.
Yes. Somewhere, somehow, Porndar had impregnated somebody in Morrowind.
I mean, Porndar, I would like to think, impregnated a lot of people in Morrowind.
Not just a lot of people, but other creatures as well.
Yeah, it basically, if it moves, Porndar impregnated one of its kind.
Make sure to subscribe on our website at duelingogres.com for new shows and articles pertaining to some of your favorite geek news. And finally, be sure to leave us a 5-star review on the iTunes or find us on YouTube, iHeartRadio, Spotify, any podcaster app ever, forever, until the end of time or we die. Or we get bored and quit.
Which will happen soon. I was texting as you said that, so I'm apparently already there.
So until next week, ogres, keep your clubs blunt.
And your tusks sharp.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night. All right, that's it. That's 2 hours and 2 minutes.
So maybe an hour of usable content.
Yeah, because fucker quit 30 times and hates us.
I know. God, that drives me fucking crazy.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm going to have to... Oh, you just froze. Perfect end. I'll talk to you later.
Bye. Okay, I have hit the record button.
Okay.
Good. All quiet on the Western Front. Turning that off so I don't have to hear myself talk. I only want to hear you. I only want to be able to hear her. You and me like a whole different world. You like to laugh at me when I look at other girls.
Wow. Apparently the interest in Fortnite and Twitch is coming the most from New Jersey.
Jersey?
New Jersey.
Really?
Yeah.
Weird, eh? All right. While I'm doing this, will you also look up what Thanos' abilities are in Fortnite?
Do you know how long it's going to take me to get to a computer to do that?
All right, I'm going to go ahead while you're doing that.
Okay.
Sorry. God damn it, we're falling apart. I
know. This whole podcast is just pulling an Infinity War.
Fuck. I almost want to screenshot that. Look at that. That's hilarious. I'm the grass man.
Beep up up beat up up. Up beat up up.
I took a screenshot before you went away of you being utterly defeated. It's so good.
Do I look like...
You've got your glasses pushed up and you're like this. Oh, it's good.
I'm so annoyed by it. I don't know how we're going to record an entire hour and a half long episode like this.
Yeah, I don't know. Sorry, I can't make the word come out. Okay, I was making sure you weren't frozen.
No, I'm still here. I was just listening. Sorry.
It's okay. You're so small on my screen, so it'll look like I'm looking at you, that when you stop moving, I have to wait and see if you're actually going to move.
No, next time you freeze, I'm going to pose.
Okay. My hair is fucked up, though. Okay, there we go. Got the Conan flip going on now.
Yeah, you do. I have the haven't brushed my hair in 10 hours look.
Yeah, I'm pretty gross. Especially the more I sit here and get hot.
Yeah. I'm not wearing any pants, and it's pretty nice.
Nice. Very good. Okay, what do you got? Okay, so while I'm pouring a soda, I finally got my fucking loot crate.
Which one?
The one that I was supposed to get, the first one.
The D&D one?
Yeah, did I bitch about that one on the podcast?
You bitched that you were apparently too late to get it. Is what you said. You said that you'd ordered it specifically for that one, but then you didn't get it because you were too late.
No. You misunderstood me. No, they apparently had problems with the printing of a shirt, the shirt that went in it, and it delayed the whole thing.
Oh, okay.
But some people were getting it and I wasn't. And this was all happening at the same time that Twitch was jerking me around and they were jerking me around, and I finally got it though.
Oh, that's cool. Do you slide your own 20 in there, or is that...
It came with the 20, and I think it's a little smaller than a regular 20.
That is neat.
Yeah, it's very cool. So, but yeah.
What was the shirt?
It was... Oh, I'm sitting on my phone. What'd you ask me?
What the shirt was?
It was Back to the Future. shirt. It had the DeLorean on it, and I think different parts and stuff of it, like an exploded view.
I thought it was a D&D box.
No, it wasn't specifically a D&D box. It was called like the playback box.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it had like Sonic the Hedgehog, it had Simpsons thing, it had a Galaga pin, the shirt, and then a Dungeons and Dragons thing.